Um, I've had this experience the last few days looking at these FREEMAN group that are trying to work within this justice system that's completely corrupt, that cannot tell the difference between right or wrong. It's a system that we all admit is not a perfect system, but it's the best we've got. And these Freeman group, when you see what it is that they're trying to do, they're trying to make sure they're locked in their own cages. It's like, why would you want to be free and lock yourself in a cage and not be free? That makes no logic sense to me whatsoever. Now, the experience that I've had, which is extremely upsetting to me, is cross paths with somebody that wanted to work in partnership with me on a positive project. And part of that, led him down a path to see what we can do with the justice system. And so, on his recommendation, it said that there was some videos out there, which I've seen most of them already, and was extremely upsetting because it's like I'm wasting my time watching insanity, and somehow I've got to stomach insanity just to be able to communicate with people to show them where they're wrong. The problem is that when you jump into insanity, there is no talking with insanity. So it's like, what's the point in looking at your insane work if you're too insane to have the conversation of why it doesn't work in the first place? Um, and here's the deal. They are a group of people that are trying to teach you how to be a lawyer and represent yourself. The problem with that is you pretty much have to teach everybody on the planet how to be a lawyer. So it's like, okay, as soon as you're born, your main mission from the age of 2 days old should be strictly about speaking for yourself in as a lawyer. You should be a lawyer from the time you're 2 days old so you can represent yourself, because who's representing a baby that can't even speak yet? And let's go a little further. Who represents a child that's 10? Who, do you only get to represent yourself when you are of age? So technically you can't be free unless you're able to represent yourself. And then let's go with people that are completely traumatized by a justice system. Me, for one. There's no way, shape, or form you'll get me walking into any of those buildings because right away I'll lose my mind. Too much trauma has taken place, and I know the whole system is corrupt. It cannot tell the difference between right or wrong, and somehow I'm going to walk into a justice system and expecting some justice from a system that can't tell right from wrong. Like right there, I would be totally upset. I would be losing my mind as soon as I walk in the door, because it's a door where you lose your mind. Some people can, function with no mind, but for me, I kind of need my mind to function. But anybody that walks through that door, it's like you're telling me you got no mind, you can't think, you have no logic sense, and you function that way. So, Ayn Rand is one of them. She's dealing with an insane mind, like all of these elites are dealing with insane minds. Everything's crashing, and they're pointing fingers at everybody else but self. So it's like I can't do the wrong thing and somehow justify it being right. So I will lose my mind, which means I can't represent myself because I have no mind. So it's like, how does a person with schizophrenic, able to represent themselves? How is a person that's deaf, dumb, and blind represent themselves? How does anybody that may be more artistic and can do things more right-brained, when in order to represent yourself you need to have that logical left brain? Like this system, this what FREEMAN are trying to do is, hey, we all know lawyers are nothing but criminals, so let's be the criminal. Like that's all they're trying to do is, instead of fixing everything that's wrong, they want to jump in and do everything that's wrong, and it will hurt your society because the only thing that they're doing is trying to be the winner of the game at all times, at all costs, no matter what it does to society. And one even insane um, solution is, well, one of these guys got a student loan paid for, and it's like, we can all do that. Okay, so if you can make the government pay for everything, and you don't have to pay your taxes because you can use that justice system to get out of paying your taxes too, where does the money come from government then? To pay your student loan, to pay all the debts you don't want to pay. Who's actually funding those bills? Like, you kind of gotta look at the insanity going on, that if you don't want to hold yourself personally responsible and accountable, and you're going to get everybody else to be responsible and accountable for your shit, all of the hard-working people that might be artistic people that can't represent themselves, these people would take advantage of them. That's what the whole system is all about, is how to take advantage of those who can't represent themselves within a structure. And it's like, ignorance of the law is no excuse. And it's like, okay, but we're going to design it so everybody is ignorant except for the ones that, this is my whole life, I'm going to study everything to do with law, so that I can take advantage of everybody that doesn't know what I know. It's total insanity. And even when I tried to prove my point, I was yelled at big time, screamed at. And it's like, right away, you're telling me you're wrong. Because if you can't conduct yourself peacefully and loving in a conversation to hear both sides, you're telling me you're wrong right away, because you are accessing wrong information. The only way to get truth is you have to be, to access the information field, you have to use your intuition, and you're either going to access wrong information or right information. If you are hateful, angry, in fear, you're accessing everything that's wrong. If you're loving, peaceful, calm, and rational, and access the information field, you're going to get more truthful information. So if I get involved in a conversation where somebody is rageful, angry, and pissed off, and can't receive information, you're just telling me that you can't access good information. And so it's like, it's not even worth having the conversation, because you're just telling me you're completely closed-minded and you want to hang on to a lie, and there's no talking with that level of insanity. I am willing to be wrong about something, but in order for you to prove me wrong, you pretty much have to hear my point of view. But if you can't receive my point of view, you can't prove me wrong. And then you gotta understand that if you're closed-minded to my view, guess what? I'm equally closed-minded to your view. So there is no conversation about me even proving you wrong, because I haven't even listened to anything you've got to say. Because you're saying nothing. So it's the only way out of this game is, you have to have some kind of a peace table. You have to have two opposing viewpoints. You have to understand that, okay, we both want the same thing. What would that same thing be? Well, we all kind of want a peaceful, loving world. We don't want anybody to take advantage of us. I'm pretty sure that's what we all want. So if you enter into a peace table and you come up with the agreement, what would be the end result we want? And come up with it with a, what is that end result we both agree that we want out of the conversation? You gotta get that one done right first, or, you're entering into a conversation that you don't even know where it's headed. But once you come up with an agreement of, okay, I'm entering this peace table to, maybe get peace, because it's a peace table, then two opposing views have the right to their opposing views. And, you know, it's the person that's going to express their views, it's my job to listen, you know, to receive an understanding of their perspective so I can carry on a conversation. And then it needs to be the same on the other side. They need to have their point of view. You know, and only when you are able to communicate two perspectives without causing anger in the conversation. It's just, okay, I heard what you said. You feel this, and this. I understand that. I feel this, and this. You know, and then you move on to, well, what is it you want? You know, so the other side says, well, I would prefer that you do this. And the other side goes, well, I prefer you do this. Then you get into, well, I can't do that because then this would affect me this way. And the other side goes, well, I can't do that because this is what it would do to me this way. So then you have other things that you need to overcome together. You both sit and say, okay, I can appreciate, you know, if it was me, I wouldn't want to go through that either. You know, you have to put yourself in another person's perspective, that whatever it is that they want, see, would you want that? You know, chances are whatever the other side doesn't want to experience, you don't want to experience it either. There's got to be at least a concept of what a peace table looks like, how a peace table actually can function, if you're ever going to understand what peace looks like. But these free men do not know how to create a peaceful world. They don't even want peace from what it seems like. It seems like they just want a war because there's no communication. They are not willing to even have a peace table. Not one of them can respond to any of my questions. Why? Because they have no answers to the questions I'm asking. Why? Because it's their insanity. They're locking themselves in their own freaking jail. And one of the, you know, even if that justice system were equal, if everybody had equal access to a justice system, which is one of the main flaws right now, only the rich can get in. Now, the way these guys want to do it, only the intellectual, educated lawyers have access, which is no different. It's the same game being played out over and over again, and they haven't overcome how you even are able to access, walk in the building, represent yourself. They can't overcome that one, okay? No matter how much you're going to teach somebody, unless you're teaching everybody, you know, which you can't, because you cannot teach the deaf, dumb, and blind any of this information. You know, like, they would be the weakest. You cannot teach this to a 3-year-old enough to be able to represent themselves. So you are limiting the access to it. But then you get into the fact that a judge can determine, prejudge what evidence is relevant and what isn't. You know, if you want to present evidence to a judge, you know, the other side can object for whatever freaking reason that makes no sense at all, because the legal system makes no sense at all. So, you know, things get thrown out all the time. One of the biggest problems is they don't understand how emotional response can leave somebody completely out of control. There's no right brain acknowledgement to our human existence in our legal system. It's all left brain thinking. And as long as it's all left brain thinking and not see how the right brain can, you know, impact humanity in any way, shape, or form, you'll never ever understand why some evidence is relevant. You know, you kill my kids, I'll lose my mind. Will I think rationally in that state of mind? No, it is a defense. You know, killing somebody right there. If killing another person is the most insane thing to do, then just killing somebody is a defense for insanity. But yet they'll justify killing in some way. Sometimes killing is okay.